Blog Talk Radio.
I used to drive all over town for low prices, but now I let Walmart's incredible new Savings Catcher do the work for me. I just enter my Walmart receipt online and Savings Catcher does the rest. It compares the prices I paid for items at Walmart with advertised prices from other top stores in my area. And if Savings Catcher finds a lower advertised price, Walmart gives me the difference on an e-gift card. Now that's my kind of work.
Introducing Savings Catcher from Walmart. Go to walmart.com/Savings Catcher for details. Eligible items only. Restrictions apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 7 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Swanson, the CEO of Cartridge World. And Cartridge World is the world's largest leading retailer and franchisor, specializing in selling brand-name printers, high-quality ink and toner cartridges, printing supplies, and service for business and domestic customers. We're going to talk to Bill about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 7 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Swanson, the CEO of Cartridge World. And Cartridge World is the world's leading retailer and franchisor, specializing in selling brand-name printers, high-quality ink and toner cartridges, printing supplies, and service for business and domestic customers. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Marty. I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Bill. Thank you for coming on the show. You know, last time we had Cartridge World on the show, I didn't realize this time flies, was 7 years ago, and there's been a lot of, interesting changes in your industry. You know, there's been some of your competitors have closed down. When deciding to make, Cartridge World has made some shifts in your business as well, Bill. When deciding to shift your business model to take advantage of, like, let's say, market opportunities, what was your first step you took?
Well, it's really exciting to be here, Marty. Thank you. I appreciate it. And when we look at the business, I came on board 3 years ago, and my background is pretty analytical, and so the first thing we try to do is understand the business and where we're at, where has the business been, where's it at now, where do we think it's going to go. And we do that through the review of empirical data, but just as important is listening to the members of the franchise community. And that's done through various forums. We have a structure here. As a matter of fact, the interview you had 7 years ago was with Mr. Carafello, one of our territory masters.
That's right.
And so these folks have their thumb on the pulse of what's happening in their region, and then also meeting with the individual stores, taking a look at what the most successful stores are doing, and taking a look at what those who aren't as successful are doing. And so in gathering all of those data points, it helps us understand where we've been, where we're at, and where we think we need to go.
That's fantastic. How do you communicate these changes? I mean, anytime you make a change in a company, Bill, sometimes there's always like a little resistance. I mean, how did you go about making these changes? Was there a strategic plan?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've learned is it needs to be a very collaborative type environment, and especially in the tiered structure that we have, where we have corporate, master, and individual store. And so one is to make sure we listen and understand, right, as Stephen Covey would say, seek first to understand before being understood. So that's what we do. And then when we identify where we want to go, basically our top stores are the ones who provided us with a lot of the ideas and guidance and the direction here because they've been doing it. They're on the ground where the rubber meets the road, and they've been doing it. And so now it's really about codifying that and then rolling that out to the others in the system so that they can take advantage of what has been learned. And somebody smarter than me said that the value of a franchise is in the collective knowledge of that franchise system, and I truly believe that. And so now when we have what we believe works, we take and we do an alpha test. And basically there's three questions we try to answer in that alpha test. One is, does this direction we're going in, or this new campaign, or this new process, does it fit the brand? That is, is it consistent with what we do? Second is it profitable? Can it be profitable for our stores? And then the third is, can it be rolled out successfully by the system, by all members of the system? And clearly the things that we're doing right now in our focus on B2B is, in fact, doing that. And so now it's repeating the message over and over through as many forums as we have.
So is that the approach then, Bill, to, I guess, educating your owners or your franchisees on the B2B model is just, constantly reemphasizing that message?
It is. It absolutely is. And it's through different types of communication methods because people receive information differently.
Sure.
And so we have some that want to see it face-to-face, and we have regional meetings with our territory masters. We have written documentation in terms of the process. We have documentation that says why this is important to you and why you would want to do it. We then have materials that go through scripting and their ability to understand how a conversation could or should go with different people in the organization, because your customers, depending on who it is in the organization, has a different axe to grind than somebody else. We want to make sure we understand what that important element is in our customers so that we address it properly. And then it's through the regional meetings, it's through master meetings and the master one-on-ones with the stores. It's through our monthly communication that we have, and it's through our portal, what we call QuickLink, which is a tool here that all the franchisees can access for all of the training information and other things that we have relative to their business.
That's fantastic. This is a great show for me and my students, but I don't know if I told you, I teach for Kaplan University, and this topic was so timely because we were talking about resistance to change, So
sure.
All my students are actually listening to this show right now, And
very good.
It's fantastic. Do you, as the as the CEO, do you get to visit the franchisees, and what is that like for you if you do, Bill?
Sure. I've actually made that more of a point. Historically, we had more folks in our organization who did that, and I said, you know what? That's nice, but I get filtered information, and so I've made trips now to 4 territories this summer, where I've met with the territory masters, and we've spent a little bit of windshield time as we go and view and visit with the stores. We've had dinners with the stores and with the territory masters, and have just absolutely fantastic dialogue in terms of really understanding how they think about the business, and then allowing me to share with them how I think about the business, and just have really good dialogue around it. And there has to be an element of trust that we all believe that we're in it to do the right thing for the system. And when you have that element of trust, you can move things forward much more quickly than you could otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's.
And I'll also suggest.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What I was also going to suggest is that it's inclusive. So it's not created here at the corporate organization and then pushed into the rest of the organization. It's actually created by the organization for the organization.
And there must always be some resistance to change, even how, if you back everything up with data and everything like that. I mean, how do you typically, what's the response when the franchise owners resist change, Bill? I mean, how do you handle that?
Sure. One is we help the franchise owners understand that the market opportunities in this business are fantastic. Right. But perhaps it's not fantastic if you sit in your shop and you wait for people to come to you. It's really fantastic in the B2B environment where printing remains very strong. It's an $80 billion business around the world, $25 billion in the U.S., and continues to be strong. And so it's helping them understand that the market is very, very strong and viable, and there are certain ways to address that market and help them understand that. And so what I will do generally is probe and see where they're at first. What are they thinking about? How do they look at their business environment or their consumer environment in their trading area? How do they manage their customer relationships? How do they develop business, et cetera? And then try to share with them and just get a gauge of receptivity. Some struggle with it clearly more than others. And I think that's a little bit of human nature. Some of us have a proclivity to act one way and think about one way. We all have talents that are in different arenas. So it's really trying to understand and harness the talent that they have and using that in a way that resonates with them. Not with me, but rather with them, because they're the ones who have to make it happen.
Sure, absolutely. What's the most challenging part of that process then, Bill?
I suppose when we've been through several iterations of a dialogue and we end up at a place that maybe is not in full connection, and that's okay. That doesn't make me bad, and it doesn't make them bad. And oftentimes what we try to do is to involve somebody else who might be able to influence that store better than I can. And what we've found through the success of our regional meetings is really having those stores who are most successful present to their peers, because they'll have the most credibility in the eyes of their peers, not the guy in the corporate office and not the territory master. While we all think we're good and we're all trying to do the best that we can and we think we provide value, the most credibility will go to their peers. And so it's working with other peers to help them understand that as well.
It seems like that's the culture of Cartridge World, too. We've had 2 of your franchisees on the show. This was probably going about 6 or 7 years ago as well, and that was one of the things that stood out. Is it was interesting to me how open your franchisees are to, share ideas with each other. And I think that's part of the culture of Cartridge World, isn't it?
It's absolutely fantastic, and we encourage that as much as possible, because that's one of the reasons why you're in a franchise.
Sure.
It's the collective knowledge of the system, and so we absolutely encourage that. And so that's an element of the culture that we want to see retained and kept alive and well.
That's great. We've in doing the show, it's almost 8 years now, Bill. I mean, we've talked about a lot of different stories on the shows of franchisees, of course, like resisting change. And so what insight would you share with other franchisors about introducing change to the franchise systems? Because, again, it's very difficult. And, again, we've had many stories on the show that we've referenced where, there's been resistance, but this isn't the case. So what advice would you give to those franchisors?
Sure. One, you have to have a vision for success. You have to know what success is going to look like. And it's to share that vision of success. In a Cartridge World, we recognize that there is so much opportunity in this small to medium-sized business where we are the local home and office printing expert. And so we've recognized that helping our customers understand that the total printing cost is not just buying your printer and then the cartridges on an ongoing basis. It's a 5 to 8 year deal of having that printer, and you can be given that printer, and your real cost is in the cartridges. So we put them in the right product from the start and then manage that relationship throughout it. And so when people understand that value is created that way, they're going to be more receptive to it when they see other people that have had success at it. And that's why it's so important to go through testing. We start with our alpha testing, we move to beta testing, and then roll it out. And so we've seen great success. And I think that the greatest barrier to overcoming that type of hesitation or resistance to change is really having success stories and celebrating those success stories.
That's fantastic. Were you surprised, Bill, when you heard, and I guess I could mention names like, because it is public information, Staples and Office Max, they were closing, all of those stores. I mean, was that a surprise to you?
No, not a surprise at all. My background is in Staples as well, and before that at Quill Corporation. So I have quite intimate knowledge of the industry, and we see the direction that it's going in, and clearly those big box stores were built too large, which, by the way, creates a fantastic opportunity for those displaced store managers who are interested in becoming prospective franchisees. They have capability because we look for people that have sales skills, interpersonal skills, customer service type skills, all those things that the superstores taught their managers and their managers their employees. And so for those folks, we think this would be a great opportunity for them to join our system.
That's fantastic. For our listeners who don't know, again, Cartridge World has a very strong brand name, but, you've had a number of accolades, over the years now. I think you've been in business now for, over 10 years. I know you've ranked pretty high on the Entrepreneur, the top 500 list as well. There've been some great accolades over the years as well, hasn't there?
There have been, and you're right. We've been in the U.S. now for just over 10 years and sharing some fantastic anniversaries with our stores here. We are ranked in the top 100 in the Franchise 500 ranking. Yeah. And it's, nothing good comes to those who wait. It's about hard work. It's about dedication to a job well done. It's about purity in your approach to say the success of the franchise system is what creates our collective success. So let's focus all of our energies there.
It was always a great story, too. I remember studying Cartridge World way back when we first heard, when we were going to have you on the show, how the company actually started. I think the story goes back to, they always remind me of like a Bill Gates kind of story of starting somewhere in a garage in Australia, wasn't it?
It is. I think all good businesses started in a garage somewhere.
Seems that way.
Yeah, it was in Adelaide, the capital of South Australia. And it had grown from there, and that was back in the late 80s. They decided to franchise the concept back in the late 90s, brought it outside of Australia then in 2002, I believe, when they went to New Zealand, and then out to Europe and came to the U.S. in late 2003.
That's fantastic. What are your plans next? I can ask you, Bill, because you are the CEO of the company. Where do you see Cartridge World 3 to 5 years down the road?
Sure, that's an excellent question, one I get from our franchisees often as well. And I see us focused on understanding who our customers are, developing good relationships with those customers by using tools that are available out there today. So it's understanding not only what printers that customer has, but it's understanding their business, how often they're going to need cartridges, putting them in the right printers to help them save money over time. It's understanding who those people are, what important dates and milestones exist in their business relationship with us, and really getting as much information about them as we can so that we can have the most relevant conversations as often as we can with them. And so that's something that's very important to us in the direction that we're moving in. Additionally, it will be our stores will be more of a showroom as opposed to a shop. which means we will have printers available for the customers to see, to better understand. We will help the customers understand the complete relationship. We will have upstream supplies that they'll be using with their printers, whatever devices they need to work with them, paper, etc. We'll have downstream supplies in terms of folders and other items that they need. We have shredding services available. We have repair and maintenance services available. So it's really holistically looking at the office and home imaging or printing environment and all the needs that they have there, and really taking that worry or concern off the minds of their customers, and their customers will recognize that this is a locally owned business that provides value in the community by making sure that better than anybody else we can respond to their printing needs. If there's ever an issue, we'll take care of it immediately. We can swap printers out for them. We can make sure that they're up and running and not missing a beat, where they're not going to get that if they order off the internet and try to go into some big box where you have people who really don't understand that.
Yeah, I think that's well said. The majority of our listeners, Bill, we call them aspiring entrepreneurs, and we find that, doing the show over the last 8 years, that most of them don't even know where to begin. They have this idea that they want to buy a franchise. What advice would you give to them in their quest of buying a franchise? What would you say to them?
I'd say go to cartridgeworld.com and take a look at the franchise development. We have territory masters. We're a little bit unique in that structure. Yeah. And these are folks who manage particular territories. And these folks are incredibly knowledgeable about what the needs are, how to think about franchising, and a lot bigger than just Cartridge World. But it's really it's going to Kaplan and taking your course. It's understanding the resources, the tools that are out there on the internet, and doing the research, and then walking into stores, chatting with people on any concept that it is that's out there, and then play that against their own internal desires and beliefs and how they think about would they like to be cooking all day or all night? Would they like to? Would they like to? In our business, because it's really focused a lot on B2B, your hours are more closely tied to when businesses are open, and so it allows you to have some more flexibility than you might some other concepts. They need to think about that. Are they comfortable going out and talking with people, building relationships, working with them? Do they have good customer service skills, or are they happy to stand behind a counter somewhere? So those are things they need to look at themselves in deciding what kind of concept they would like to zero in on.
Yeah, and that's so important. Over the years, too, we've spoke about, the downsizing of corporate America, and the thousands of emails that we've received over the years of people saying, I just got downsized from corporate America, and that's important to a lot of them, is to still have that structure, So, I think that is so important. What do you look for? What does Cartridge World look for in their franchisees, Bill? Because it very is certainly relationship-driven.
It absolutely is, and I'm glad you asked that. What we look for are folks who want our self-starters and want to be in business for themselves, not by themselves. You probably heard that ad nauseum. Sorry about that. But you can go out independently. But the franchise system offers so much more. It offers the ability to have a community of other like-minded store owners that you can bounce ideas and thoughts off of. It's having a resource that you can go to in the running of your business when you have questions, labor questions, tax questions, technical questions about your business, that you have a resource who's there with you, who's probably seen your question more than once before and can help answer those questions quickly for you. And then more specifically, what we look for is people who have a customer service mindset that it's about the experience that the customer has. Maya Angelou said it best when she said, people won't remember what you said to them and they won't remember what you did to them, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And so it's about having people that will make their customers feel important, feel respected. And so it's that element. It's about having sales skills, the ability to say, I see that you bought the black ink cartridge. Would you like the sister color ink cartridge with that? Can I interest you in two today? We have a special price on. It's about asking for the sale. Because if you don't ask it, you'll never get the answer. So it's people who don't fear that, people who are comfortable going out on cold calls and talking with people and having a good 30-second elevator speech available to them. That's the kind of person who's going to be most successful in our system.
That's fantastic. What's the best way, Bill, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee? I think you mentioned it earlier, but maybe you could plug it again.
I will plug it again. Thank you. It's cartridgeworld.com. And so you will get your information there. We have a video there that'll help you understand. It's a relatively short but very informative video that you can take a look at that'll help you understand a little bit more about our business.
And I want to thank you again for coming on the show, Bill. I think Cartridge World is an amazing franchise, and I'd already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. It was a pleasure to finally have you on the show.
Well, Marty, thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to share our experiences with your listeners.
Thanks so much, Bill. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to be with two franchisees to the Cartridge World system. Coming right up on Franchise Institute.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now almost 4 years, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. Today you're going to get to hear from two franchisees to the Cartridge World franchise opportunity, and we like to call them franchipreneurs, entrepreneurs who actually purchased a franchise. And I thought they really hit the nail on the head with their advice to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise. They started off with the importance of working hard. You know, I think a lot of times when people are thinking about buying a franchise, that they may think it's going to be a little easier than going into their own business, and certainly not true at all. I mean, a common theme on our show whether we're talking to a franchisor or a franchisee, is they emphasize that the first year, especially the first year, is going to be a lot of hard work. They also talk about the importance of networking early, the importance of family support, which I think is very, very important, and also the importance of having enough capital to, again, get through that first year and that second year. It's going to be a lot of work. So I think you're going to enjoy this edition. And again, we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Here we go, and enjoy.
It is a wonderful part of the business, just meeting people and getting to know them and being able to help them out.
What advice, Norm, would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur looking to buy a franchise, or, say, for example, Cartridge World? Now you've been through the whole process, training, owning a few stores. What advice would you have someone now listening, thinking of Cartridge World?
First of all, you have to understand that you're going to work hard. It's your own business, and it's going to do as well as you are willing to work hard. Learn as much as you can about the marketplace and about your customer base. Network early. Get out there and meet people. Set the stage for when you're actually opening the business.
Right.
And understand the financial aspects of the business. You can't come in undercapitalized because it may take you a while to start generating some cash flow, and you have to be able to continue to run your business, to market and to advertise. Let people know you're out there.
Very good points. How about you, Jeff, on that point?
I agree with everything that Norm said, but you really have to do your homework. You really, if you set your mind that you want to be a franchise owner, of course you look at different business models and you choose the model that you think is good and will make sense for you now into the future. To me, it was very important to look for a business model that wasn't just a hot topic for today, something that was gonna carry on and be successful for years to come. And then I took on a franchise coach, as I mentioned earlier, and found out a lot of things that I didn't know. I mean, networking for sales is one thing, but networking to understand what you're in for is another thing that's sincerely important. Setting your business plan and your goals is of paramount importance, and understanding, as Norm had said, your financial needs. My franchise coach was not only interested in the fact that I wanted to be involved in a franchise, but he wanted to know it was my family behind it. Because you really need to have people behind it. Because as Norm said, this is a 24/7, even if your store isn't open 24/7. It's a 24/7 thinking process in gearing up and ramping up your business.
Absolutely. Jeff and Norm, we have about like 30 seconds.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next week with another edition of Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.